Welcome back, venturers. It's time for another discussion about VNs. I am MR, and together with Taurus, we bring you the Readport during the most hellish season, hot summer. I've been struggling, downloaded plenty of titles to read, but ultimately, for the Readport, sat down to read only one of them. Taurus, it's time to come clean. What have you been up to this past month?
Yes, it's been summer, and on the bad side of things, we've had a terrible heat wave for some parts of the world. But on the good side, we had the Steam Summer Sale! And so we get to discover all sorts of new products and get reading a bunch of interesting visual novels. And in my case, I have been reading a title called Schrödinger's Call. This one I remember having quite a bit of hype to its release. It definitely seemed to catch some popularity online, and at some recommendations, I've been checking it out. I think I'm about halfway through, so I'm not finished with it yet, and I think it's about a 10-hour visual novel, so that's where I'm at. So far, I'm very impressed. The story thus far is that our main character is Mary. She's a girl who has no recollection when she wakes up in the middle of a dark room. And it turns out, a talking cat explains to her that the world is about to be destroyed. Specifically, they have 12 nanoseconds before it's destroyed. And Mary is here in a state of limbo between being alive and dead. As the last confidant, it is her job to answer the phone, listen to the many voices that are out there on the other end of the call, and simply listen. And so with nothing else to do, and with a lot of questions still in her head, Mary goes about her job of listening to people's stories and helping them overcome their grief to a happy ending. Well, as much as she can give them a happy ending anyways. But yes, it's been a very good title so far. One thing that really pops out about it is that it reminds me quite a bit of the house in Fata Morgana.
Oh.
And yeah, I don't mean literally, but I mean it in the same kind of strengths and its atmosphere and the general vibes and production that it's going for. Like in Schrödinger's Call, it has a very unique art style. It's often monochrome, where things are sketched in the shades of gray, but it also has color at important moments and for really dramatic shots. And it's one of those ways where it limits itself just to really explode when it decides to break its own self-imposed limits, and that's just a great sense of style. I always love it when products, visual novels hold themselves back and really work within those limitations. So obviously the house in Fata Morgana, that's also well known for having a very Western Victorian kind of art style, and you see shades of that here too in Schrödinger's Call. It also has some phenomenal music.
Oh.
Exactly. It's one of those things that, the art style, sure, that pops out at you right away, but it's not until you get to play it, when you get to hear just how well the music is filled with so much emotion. There's the really emotional climaxes of the story where, the strings and the piano are really going wild, but it's also in the little character themes. How as she meets a whole variety of interesting fellows along the way, the characters all have their own, instrumentals that really fit their personality. From whether it's the, shy, withdrawn characters, or the headstrong, taking charge kind of people, or the really weird and eccentric kind of individuals you meet. The soundtrack.
This is such an anime thing to do.
Oh, absolutely.
Having characters, they having their own background music, you recognize them as.
I'd say that's more of a visual novel thing, though, right?
I mean, yes, both, honestly.
I mean, yeah, I get that, but visual novels, their sprite comes up on the screen, and that's when they have their introductory theme and all that. Yeah, still, either way, it's one of those little things that it adds a lot of life to these characters because they're not voiced. It has the whole,
okay.
it has the Ace Attorney style where it's just the beep 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 as they talk.
Telegram. Okay.
Exactly. It's little sound effects, and there's a little bit of variety in the sound effects enough. But still, the music is doing a lot of work. I've always said before that if a visual novel doesn't have voice acting, then it's a huge struggle to communicate through the writing which of the characters is speaking. Because, voice acting gives a lot of life, all the deep nuance to the characters, so that, when they just need to say a few words and you can instantly hear who they are. But if you don't have that, then if you see a line of dialogue on the screen, you need some sort of other, visual, or in this case, auditory aid to figure out just immediately who's talking. Because otherwise, then you have to
Even
piece it
beyond
together
that-
through the context clues, and that's just a pain,
Even beyond that, I believe you have to find a way to communicate the intonation of how they speak. Because the same line can be delivered wildly different whether or not you are in a state of being angry or not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like if you want
I
to...
completely agree with you.
Yes. I mean, if you want to write a character who's like, from the South in America, obviously there's that Southern drawl accent, but you can't just have an accent. I mean, they depending on the person's life and who they are and how they grew up, they have a different way of speaking and the different word choices that they'd use. It's really hard to do this, to be fair. So I give a lot of leeway to visual novels when it comes to the character writing. It's really hard to just have a few words and the reader can instantly tell who that is behind the screen. So yeah, I cut them some slack. And voice acting is the easiest way to differentiate that. But without that, you have a title like Schrödinger's Call. They color code the character names as well. I always love that. That's just such an easy trick.
I was about to mention that in a game devoid of color, and what you said, that has a very monochromic approach to design and art style. The text boxes are actually really colorful a lot of the time in the screenshot that's running in the background that you prepared. You have characters' names and or even their lines outlined in a color. I'm like, that's kind of striking. This is definitely a choice.
Yep, striking. Definitely a great word for it. Anytime you have choices on screen, those are always listed in red text as well. So again, they just pop out on the screen. The structure...
I mean, then again, you have 12 milliseconds, so you better pick a good choice.
12 nanoseconds.
Sorry, nanoseconds, okay?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, so it's a little bit of a funky layout because it's written in the ADV style, VNture, where you have the text box in the bottom. But in this case, there isn't a text box. You can just imagine like it's fully transparent or whatever. So there's just text floating in the bottom part of the screen. And normally, if you do that, then it's a big challenge to make the text pop out from the background. You have to really, work hard on the UI to make sure you've got good text and the spacing and the white text with the black outlines to differentiate itself from how all monochrome it gets in the background. But so far, Schrödinger's Call is great on that front as well. It's the technical details that you would expect. Like just looking at any of these screenshots or scrolling along in the background, you would think it'd be a challenge, but I've never had to strain my eyes or anything. Very much appreciate that. It's a title that does so many little things right. And it's the sort of things that you would never really notice. And to be fair, you never should notice as a reader, because if you do notice, then it's a problem and it's, it's detracting from your enjoyment of the story. So a little title like this, gets major points in my book, just out of production quality.
Yeah, the props to them. Definitely something that on this art style alone they stand out.
But of course, one of the things I'm really enjoying about Schrödinger's Call is its story. It's a very interesting structure, like I said, how it reminds me of The House in Fata Morgana. That's also a title that's divided up into chapters. And in each chapter, it focuses on, a specific few characters. And we get that time to delve into their relationships, into their backstories, into their dreams, and most importantly, the kind of grief that's troubling them in the last moments of their life. And similarly to The House in Fata Morgana, there's also some sort of overarching plotline too, because after all, Mary still doesn't have her memories and she's trying to piece together what's going on and how she got caught up in all of this. I actually didn't care for Fata as a whole, because I was not impressed with how they handled their overarching story. All their individual chapters were great, but the way they tried welding it together, I wasn't a fan. So I'm only halfway through for Schrödinger's Call, and we're gonna have to see how well that can stick the landing, but if it can, then honestly, I would even give this higher marks to this one than what I did for Fata. So I'm really looking forward to see how this goes. Very interested to meet more characters and to learn more about Mary.
So you're telling me the ending in this title is in state of uncertainty until you observe it, right?
Oh yeah, You think you're so clever for that, yeah?
Yeah, it's okay. It took me a while, okay?
This is not a sci-fi story, so thankfully we don't have to hear any more explanations about Schrödinger's kitty cat.
Aww.
I will say, though, even better, we do have the cat that's guiding you. His name is Hamlet. And so we do
and
get...
in what state he's in?
Yeah, and so we do get a funny part or two of to be or not to be.
Oh, okay, classic.
And when you think about it, that also kind of ties into the whole Schrödinger's cat aspect.
Yep.
The duality of existence or non-existence, waxing poetic. Either way, it's great. I also love how all the characters are some sort of animal. Obviously, Mary is the human, and Hamlet is the cat. But since we're just calling people, we don't actually get to see what they look like, from Mary's perspective. So instead on the screen, it takes some liberties with how she imagines them and how she sketches in her journal and keeps all her notes together.
That's actually curious as well, because it has that wacky element to it. Why they are animals? Why it's anthropomorphic story all of a sudden.
It gives it a lot of whimsy. I feel like this is a VN that could easily drown under all the weight of its serious emotional trauma aspects. But it knows how to keep it lighthearted too. And it's funny because you don't really get that lightheartedness through the script or the plot or much. It's a lot through the visuals, and it's a lot through the very pretty doodles and drawings in her journal. It's a nice balance.
I was about to say how serious it is about the whole impending doom crisis mode. But you seem to imply it has more comedic and or comforting, dare I say, moments?
I wouldn't say comedic. Because...
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just to clarify, there's not much like slapstick humor or anything like that, but it's more just the silliness of calling someone and suddenly meeting a talking frog who adores puns.
Okay.
It's a nice break, and it's nice pacing. That when you start and you meet people and you hear their stories and you feel the emotion, but it never makes this story doesn't ever hammer it onto you. It makes, so far from what I've seen, is that it makes sure to balance out some of the I guess you could say, goodness and hope with the whole terrible sadness involved as well. Like I said, I'm still just about halfway done, I think, so there's more for me in store, but hopefully if it can keep up this level of production and entertainment, then this is going to be an amazing ride.
Okay, I can't wait to hear more about it. Once you finally observe the ending, then you'll share your new perspective on the title.
What have you been up to, Amar?
As for me,
I'm sweating it up.
Yeah, just listen. Speaking of sweating up, I have heard that they have released a fun translation patch for Dayakuji. So I went and tried to use the DL site. Oh God. It took me a while to navigate, to get some DL site points and purchase that. Ultimately, I couldn't make it work. But what I scouted on DL site, and this is something I have postponed for some time now, is King Exit. So I finally sat down to read it. Okay. King Exit takes place in the same world as Demon's Roots, but when is hard to say. My current, because I haven't finished, I'm in chapter 4. My current estimation is that it takes time around the point in Demon's Root when you, the reader, are informed that the story diverges. I think this is the point in which it starts, but even that is unclear to me because, and this is something I have to say, my American friends teach me 2 words to describe the situation the protagonist is in, okay? Shit's fucked, okay? Shit's fucked, really fucked. It seems you, the reader, are always fated to read the story from the perspective of underdog. So in this case, the demons are winning and humanity is on the brink. Which is hilarious given how the situation started with Demon's Root when the opposite was happening, but whatever. We're on the brink, this is the desperate thing, and you start. Oh, now. How can I describe? Maybe I'll start with the most interesting thing in this title so far is you read 2 parallel stories at the same time. What I mean by that is the real story, and the real story from the chronological perspective starts when you are framed. For whatever crimes you didn't commit, from the perspective of the reader, you are framed and thrown into the jail.
I'm sorry, you, the main character?
Yes, the main character, you the main character. You are framed, you were the greatest hero to ever lived, and you have saved the kingdom from the demons because you're so awesome. You're that guy, or girl in this case. But you got framed, you got thrown to the jail. And now, navigating the despair for what have transpired that made you framed, and thinking, walking around prison as prison stories tend to do, for whatever reason. Okay, just don't get me started, okay? That was so convenient. You could create a key using your skills to now open prison, but since you're in solitary confinement, no one is here, no guards are posted, so you can walk around freely. Okay, that's super convenient. Anyway, throughout that ordeal, you have dreams of what has happened in the past, of those glorious battles and you leading the charge. And probably that's the most intriguing part. I love how you have 2 parallel stories at the same time. And there is a hint of the feedback loop of something is very, very wrong. And on my guard, I have alarm bells blasting in my head. If the game itself tells you something is wrong in the dream, then it's what kind of misdirection is that? Because now I anticipate that most of it is correct, but there is a crucial detail that reframes the entire dream sequence. So.
Oh, I love those kinds of stories, yeah.
It is super intriguing. This is probably the best part of this title. Of every single chapter, you weave between the real world and your life as a prisoner and the glorious past and trying to connect everything together. Now, what I say to you, and this is slightly spoilerific, very slightly, is you find clues in the dreams to progress your current state in the current time. And I have all the alarm bells ringing in my head right now. How the hell do you find clues in the past for your current situation? Like, oh God, what is going on?
That's exactly what title I read. What was it? I'm trying to think back of what it was, but it was the adventure game that I read. Oh gosh, I'm blanking out on a terrible time right now, right as I distracted you.
No, I
that was it. It was
when it comes...
Type Noise, Shonen Shoujo. That was the adventure game where along the way you'd find clues and it'd be like, you flash back and get a piece of your memories and they would give you something relevant to escape your current situation.
Okay.
What are the odds?
This is very similar.
Yeah, we find that same kind of mechanic in these two very different titles.
I don't want to go into details, but it sounds very similar, okay?
That's so cool. But anyways, yes, that sounds super interesting. That there's the present day and then there's the past as well in King Exit.
Listen, I try to avoid any spoilers whatsoever when approaching the title, but I cannot avoid the splash screen, you know, the titles and images that they present on the store pages. So I already anticipate that King's Exit will be about prison life, because that was everywhere in the advertisement. And I go back to my head, wait, Demon's Roots, prison? Oh no, not that kind of prison.
Oh, okay, that's...
Right?
That's where
you see my point.
Yeah,
so
okay, man.
It is not that crazy.
Okay.
But the most intriguing part of having two parallel adventures is super cool, because you honestly, the fact that you have two completely different set of people to interact in the past and in the present is super unique. I have now two sets of adventurers I care about. What the hell? Twice the characters. And they are all amazing. I think the mark of a great... I would even hazard a guess. I would say a great VN with 18 plus content is the male characters. And they are all amazing so far. All your male companions are amazing in this game.
Because when you have...
In the past, in the past, you have the three male companions and they aren't defined by, I'm pervy. No, every one of them has some grudges, problems, or personality quirks that are super cool to explore. Oh my freaking God.
Because with anime girls, it's like, okay, as long as she looks pretty, then, you know, that's the baseline.
Okay, yeah.
And of course, don't get me wrong, it's great to have the personality and characteristics and stuff as well, but, you know, that's, you could just call it a day. But you can't do that with male characters. If they're around, and, you know, obviously you have a intended audience of straight guys, then, you know, they gotta be well-written, meaningful, interesting characters if they're gonna carry their weight. That's why I always appreciate titles that have lots of male characters. Because they're like, oh, there's a lot. This is going to be heavy story focus. Yeah.
Exactly. You have an R18 rated VN with a party that consists of 2 women, 3 guys. And I already know, fine, this will be fire. Because it would be one protagonist and surrounded by girls. I already know, okay, it's slope. Like, this is so often the case. I mean, obviously, it's not guaranteed to be the slope, but it's so often the case. And going back to the hero party from the glorious days, this is such a varied cast of characters. You have a supreme blockhead warrior, I smack hard kind of person. A goody two-shoes cleric that is very apprehensive about doing things the right way because he's scared about what if I fuck it up. And the snarky, lanky wizard who is super sarcastic. Like, this is such a great cast of characters. And I would say, oh, I miss them in the present day. But no, somehow there's one guy that triumphs all of them. It's the Professor Plant. He's so fucking hilarious.
Professor Plant?
Yes. His name is Raster, and he's so super plant otaku is crazy.
Plant otaku.
He got captured and thrown into prison because he researched all the plants there is on the ground, and he wants to go underground to find exotic plants. He's so crazy.
Good for you, buddy. Eat your heart out.
Oh, exactly. He is so funny. But at the same time, he's super reasonable. Whenever you find a clue or stuck on a problem to solve, he approaches things reasonably. So he's not only defined by his obsessive herbology. No, he's actually quite reasonable. He has the main protagonist kind of snarks at her. Okay, why are you calling me a pervert? She calls Professor Plum a pervert, but you are the one dressed in rags. I will find you the clothes. And it's hilarious how many plants he knows. Like, okay, I can do some knitting with this special kind of plant that is very good at knitting and making clothes. I'm like, what the hell? That's super convenient. Like, that's super cool how they use him.
He's showing his worth.
Exactly. You have made a point when describing your title in VNs that do not have voice acting, which King Exit doesn't have. Okay, you have to introduce some sort of component with sound to describe the character. I want to double up this problem. What if this character has no voice and no spoken lines, no dialogue? So you appear. You have a new companion that doesn't speak, cannot speak whatsoever. And this is some sort of magical, how can I say it, autonomous unit. And the way they made this thing speak is by using default open inventory sound. If you've ever played an RPG Maker game, you kind of know the sounds that they use, right? And you have a character that speaks in open inventory sounds.
That one sound that goes doodly?
With multiple intonations. Like, what the hell is going on? That's amazing.
That's pretty clever and a little silly. That's great.
Yeah. Holy fuck. That's so cool. I am enjoying the title. It's hard for me to place how it relates to Demon's Roots yet. The only thing connecting to them yet, this is a story about demons and humanity fighting each other. And the character you are playing as is the same character you had been introduced that in the prologue, in the Demon's Root that just disappeared. This is exactly her. Mm-hmm. So far. Oh yeah, and the characters you're fighting against are all the remnants you've known and loved in the Demon's Roots.
Okay, so I'll hesitate to ask you more in the name of spoilers, but I'll definitely be interested to see how that unfolds. As for a different comparison, what can you say about the gameplay in King Exit?
We will have to speak about gameplay. I am so tired of random encounter system JRPGs.
Oh.
I move around prison and get attacked by rats. No. It's just...
Oh, the classic.
Can we not do that?
So I take it
it's the classic in the worst kind.
You're not a fan of the typical JRPG battle format and grind and leveling up skills. You changed me for the worst. Now I keep hating the JRPGs more and more. The more I play it and the more they seem the same and formulaic. Yeah, I mean, I gotta admit, I too am not a fan of turn-based RPG combat. Especially when it's the classic attack, defend, item, magic stuff you see in every RPG Maker title. It's like, please, at least shake it up.
You have the HP, MP, TP, and items. I'm like, oh no, I've seen that before.
I mean, I remember from Demon's Roots that at least they tried to be, very well built. there was
Yes.
good variety, and there's the whole teamwork aspect,
True.
and there's interesting mechanics. They tried, but at its core, it was still that same basic formula. I mean,
And
this. Sorry, King
I'll
Exit is the first one, and Demon's Roost was the prequel.
Yes.
So, do you feel that
Yep.
here?
honestly, when it comes to gameplay in Demon's Roost, that was also a thing I'd rather not remember.
Ah.
So I at least given this, they are trying. They make it interesting, just like in the Demon's Roots, you have characters with their unique selections. Diana in Demon's Root had her own gun menu, just like Professor Plant has his herbology menu, and pick your plant to fight with. Okay, that's funny. So they are trying to use the gameplay to convey character of those characters. I get that. It's no bueno. Listen, we have spoken in the past about replaying VNs. At this point, honestly, I want to replay Evenicle. What the fuck happened with that game that I loved it so much, and now I'm so tired of JRPGs? Was I wrong? Is it bad? Or is, for whatever reason, that one is actually good?
So
when it comes
somehow
to gameplay,
reading King Exit is making you like Evenicle more.
yeah, I suppose that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
I remember back when we talked about. Oh my god, what was that game about Pokemon from Alisoft? I forgot the title for now. That had a very underwhelming gameplay, but it was still interesting. And more so engaging than this RPG Maker template.
Mm.
I don't know. When it comes to gameplay, I hold control so hard on those fights and spam normal attacks and or AoE attacks because the game decides to throw 17 mobs at you at the same time.
17 rats.
You know it.
Oh,
Rats or corpses or, Man.
Collect 10 bear
I want to say I hope it gets better, but then again, I am way more absorbed with the story, of which there's ton of, by the way. Let me get that also sorted out why I brought this up, and I consider it way more of a VN game. There's so much dialogue constantly. Much. I think, if anything, this is a dialogue-heavy VN that is interrupted by stupid gameplay sometimes. That's how I see it now.
Oh boy. Well, same as in my boat. I hope that you enjoy the rest of the title and it keeps up with the consistent quality.
Yeah, exactly. I look forward to more dream sequences because those were amazing so far. Amazing.
Cool. Well, thank you everyone for listening in. Hopefully, we've shared some pretty cool titles with you that you might check out. Or if you have already read these, then feel free to share your thoughts in the comments as well.
Yeah, I want to thank all our listeners. Share it in the comments what you've been up to. And on that note, venture out.
Venture out.